Well, hello. This is Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and we are talking about the amazing world of CNC routers. And I want to talk to you if you are on the fence about getting one. You've been thinking about it, and you've been watching these amazing videos of people making this amazing stuff, and you just wish inside of you that you could do it. And maybe you've even done some research on these things, but there's something that's holding you back. Don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that fear of the unknown, or maybe you just don't know. You're just sitting there, oh, I want to do this. I know I can do this. It's in your spirit, but you just don't know what to do. And then maybe you've even done research on the machines, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, these things are a little pricey. You know, here's my take on this, and maybe this will help you make a decision. Jump off the fence and go get one. You know, when you're looking at that stuff, there's this creative energy inside of you that's just screaming to get out, right? And you watch that stuff, and that's what's intriguing you so much on it, is when you're watching people do amazing stuff, and you wish you were there. You can be there. It's like anything else. It's a craft, right? And you have to learn it from the ground up. And that's why I'm here, right? That's what I do. I help you, the person who's jumped off the fence and made the decision to take the plunge into the unknown and get that CNC router. Get that machine and start learning what it can do, because here's my take on CNC routers. It's a technologically advanced way of expressing your amazing creativity that you have inside of you. And you know, you do have it. That's what you feel. I mean, I've already said that. When we go for it and we don't know anything about it, here's what usually happens. You finally jump off the fence. You bought this machine that can do this amazing stuff, and then you're like a deer in the headlights going, oh my God, what did I just get into? We've all been there. We've all done that. But you know, that's the beauty of the journey of learning how to be a creator. And I use the term CNC'er a lot. Like, I'm a CNC'er. You're a CNC'er. But at the heart, we are creators of amazingly beautiful things. And, you know, there are people out there that actually earn income off of it. Like, they do what they love to do. Their creative juices have come out. They've fine-tuned them, and they've honed in on what they love to create, and then they have a market for it, and they start making money on it. And that's what we all wish we kind of could do, is do what we love and get paid for it. And you know what? Here's my philosophy on this whole thing. You should get paid for doing what you love. There's this kind of idea out there in the world that we should not necessarily be paid for what we love. We should be working to get paid. And that's such a mind-bending switch in the way to think is, wait a minute, I love doing this. Why can't I get paid for it? Here's one of the things. We have a tendency to give away our talents of what we love to do because we so much love doing it. But within that talent, you have a passion, right? Here, let's take this to a completely different level. Do you know how you go through life and you think, there's got to be something more out there? There's got to be something, and you're not sure what it is, and you wish you could go after it, but somewhere inside you just don't think you can go get it. You know, maybe we don't think we should be able to have it, but this is an incredible world today of technology and machines. And I'm going to take another little tangent here. So some people think, oh, you make a craft on a machine. Well, if it's machine made, then it's not really a craft. It's not really handmade. But it's mind made, right? Here's the thing with CNC routers. You can do so many incredible things. If you're listening to this, you've probably have watched videos on it and seen some of the crazy stuff that people do. And yes, it is a talent. It is something to work up to. And again, that's why I'm here, right? I'm the one that helps you walk up the ladder, holds your hand, and will give you the guidance that you need. Of course, you have to do the walking. It's kind of like a baby. This is probably the best way to think about it. When a baby is on its knees and crawling around, and then it's starting to work to get up, it just tries and tries and tries until it gets there. It doesn't even think about, oh my God, what's going to happen when I get there? I'm so afraid to do it. And then somewhere along the line, as we grow up, we become afraid of stepping out and trying new things and learning how to walk like a baby does. But that's exactly what you'd be doing. And then you'd learn how to walk. You'd actually be walking here, and you can look back in a couple of months and go, holy cow, look at this. I'm walking. I'm making parts on a CNC machine. Parts. I call it parts. Beautiful, amazing creations is what it is. And it's all from your mind. So it's like you have to exercise your mind into realizing you can do this. And then you go on and start to refine it, and you start to make an income from it. This is something I think a lot of people have trouble with, is how can I make money doing something like this? Well, you know what? Again, that's why I'm here. The world of CNC is this very unusual, what do you want to call it? It's this little ability to create very unique things for people that they can't find otherwise. They can't go to Walmart and get a gift specially made for somebody else. But you can create that. And those people want that. Little do we know there are so many people out there. And here's something for you. Did you know last year online, the number of sales for custom-made gifts went up by 50%? This is like you work with a customer to create something that's a gift, that's personalized, and that's what you have the ability to do as a CNCer, is to personalize. And then you create it for them, and then when they get it, they're pretty amazed at what they have, and it gets forwarded to the person who they truly want to give something to, and you are part of that journey. But you're not part of the journey if you stay on the fence. A lot of times when we're on the fence, we don't even realize that that is the world that we start to jump into, the world of helping others achieve their dreams. And that's exactly what you do if you jump into buying that CNC machine, just taking the plunge and learning how to do it. It's so fun to exercise your mind. And granted, sometimes you get frustrated because you don't know how to do something in a certain way. But again, that's why people like me are here, and there's so many people out there trying to help. There's one thing that's not out there, and that's why I decided to get in there and get into one-on-one training and group training, webinars and things like that to help people like you get launched. It's just scary at first. When I talk about gifts and the things that you can make, and you can do something that's incredibly personalized, built for one person, and you have come into a world that very few people operate in. So you become part of a very small minority of creators, true creators, who do things from a passion. And you have every right to do things from your passion. You have every right to be happy with what you're doing in life. Here, I want to tell you a little story. It was about 2 years ago when I was an engineer, and I used to love it, but I just remember sitting there in the last couple of months going, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't me anymore. It's not my heart. My heart is creating. My heart is helping other people. My heart is talking to you and inspiring you to be what your heart is calling you to be. And if you're someone who's thinking about the CNC world and the creativity in it, which is why you're listening to this podcast in the first place, then that must mean that your heart has shifted in different directions and you're looking for something maybe more meaningful in life that's meaningful to you. And when it comes down to it, the thing that's most meaningful to us in life is giving others joy. And that comes full circle back around to, well, should I get paid for it? That seems kind of wrong. So should you be paid to be happy? Or should your happiness be free? I don't know. That's kind of a weird question. Should you be paid to be happy? Or is your happiness worth being paid for? I don't know. That's a kind of weird question too. It's just, we are entitled to our joy and our happiness and should have it and should do the things that we love to do to have that. And it is entirely within your right to do what you love to do and get paid for it. It's a God's gift, right? God, in whatever respect you may know God as, never created us to not be happy. No, that's just a different spiritual aspect of the whole thing. I want you to close your eyes for a minute and just think about, you're sitting in front of this machine and it's making something that you came up with within your mind. And you were able to finally use the tools that we didn't have before to make it come to life and make it real. Isn't that kind of an amazing thought? Where the end result of you jumping off the fence is this project that you've made on a CNC machine, router, laser, whatever it may be. And it's beautiful. And you have this feeling within you of, oh my God, I actually did this. And it's beautiful. And you can see the beauty in it from your creative mind. I so want you to jump off the fence. I have run into a lot of people in my journey through CNC and being out here in podcasts and on YouTube, and I've had people say, my wife doesn't think I enjoy it. And I've heard this many times, actually, from many people. And that always makes me step back for a moment and think, even if it's someone so close as a spouse, how can they be the true judge of what will bring us happiness? The only person that can truly tell us whether we're happy or not is us. And in life, we go through phases, and sometimes we need that change. You know, we just run into this plateau of, I've had enough of this, I'm full, I'm not fulfilled from it anymore, and I need something new. And that's where CNC comes in. If you're just leaning towards that's your spiritual call. And that's how I saw it. And that's how I saw getting into what I'm doing now. Talking to you, telling you, you are an amazing creator. Let the juices flow. When we worry about the money and think, oh my God, if I spend so much money, how will you ever know? And what if you just never made the decision and sat on it? How many times have we done that? Knew that we should have done something and let ourselves talk ourselves out of it, or let other people talk us out of it, and then regret it later. I wanted to be in this services many years ago, and I was this close to signing up to the Air Force, and my brother, I allowed him to talk me out of it, and I've regretted it ever since. Yeah, it's an experience in life that I wanted to have, and I allowed someone else to dictate that. So we'll get back to this in just a moment. I have to give you a little talk as to why I do this podcasting on Anchor. So I'm going to share a little bit about that, and then I'll be right back. Well, I had to stop for just a moment and talk about this podcast service that I use. It's called Anchor. And the reason I like to use it is because it's free. That's the first reason. Second reason is I get to talk about what I love and I can get paid for it, and I actually do. It's like, it's a no brainer, right? And you can talk about anything that you love to do. I would say get on Anchor, talk about whatever you want to talk about because it's going to spread out to the world. They spread this stuff out to all the platforms, and it takes you 15 minutes. Anyway, I love talking about CNC, so let's get back to it. Okay, I am back, and I am so glad you're still here thinking about this. I hope that I have you thinking a little bit more about why are you holding back? What do you think is going to happen if you do? Will you fall on your face? Well, probably a couple times. But that's what babies do, right? They fall on their faces many times. And then they get up and they try again. And guess what happens? You know, the same exact thing's going to happen to you. Just try, right? I think we're so worried about the money sometimes that you know what the truth is, when we use money as the reason, it's never about the money, ever about the money as to why we don't go after something. There's always a deeper reason, and usually it's the fear of the unknown, the fear that we just won't be good enough. And that's when we start asking other people, well, what do you think? And sometimes we need that insight from others. But I would say this from my own personal experience and being in that world, that if I allowed others, which I've done much in my life, to make those decisions for me, guess what it does? It holds me back from decisions that I wished I had made. And how many didn't I do because of that? After my wife Barbara died, this is a little story for you, by the way. After my wife Barbara died in 2011, and then my best friend died in 2012, and I just realized then, you know, what am I doing with my life? Clocking in, clocking out. And all this time, I just ignored the big world out there. And you know what I did? I started quitting work. I started quitting work and started to experience life for a change. I would get in my car and I'd just go drive, literally for months. I wanted to visit the Western United States, and I did it 3 times. And I don't regret it for a second. Granted, sometimes I was scared because I gave up working. Like, I quit the security of a job. But look what has happened over the course of the 9 years since I left my career. I've had all kinds of experiences. I hiked 2,650 miles across the Pacific Crest Trail. The most amazing life experience I've had. And all that spiritual journey has brought me to a point where I am talking to you today, telling you, don't hold back on your creative happiness self that you are, the spiritual beauty within. The world is so boxy and full of rules. And I have learned that rules, most of them are, how do I put this in a really good way? I'm going to give it to you in a story. You're going to like this. I mean, this is half CNC, half about life. It was the last job I had, and it was a really good company. And the people, I'd never worked at a company that had this kind of longevity in its employees. You could talk to 3 employees, and there'd be a cumulative 90 years of employment. That's how solid this company is and was for me. But in my life journey over the last 9 years of saying, screw it, I don't care what people think. I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to figure my life out and do what I want to do. And I started getting happy and loose and fancy free. And so what I would do is, like on Fridays, I'd start doing the happy dance. I'd just walk out to the production floor. I was an engineer. I'd walk out to the production floor and go up to the production girls and say, girls, it's Friday, it's time for the happy dance. And I'd just start dancing out of the blue. And they loved it, right? Because nobody else does that stuff. Nobody else has fun. At first, they thought I was like really strange and weird, like you would, right? Because it's out of character for mankind. But after a while, they kind of got the idea that, you know what, this guy's having a lot of fun and he makes us smile. My boss even said, Garrett, you make these people work harder just by being who you are. How's that for a compliment? But anyway, having people that are at a company for so long, they're retiring all the time, and they've had this rash of retirement parties. And they would have parties for people inside. Everybody'd pitch in and then they'd have a party at lunchtime. I mean, you don't hear about that in companies, but this one would do it because people lived, eat, and worked together for decades. Well, during the retirement parties, I would just say, you know what, it's time to get up there and dance. That's exactly what I do. So it'd be like the Happy Friday dance, but it'd be the Happy Retirement dance. And everybody loved it. 150 people out there cracking up. Well, one day there's this one guy, his name is Bruce. Everybody liked Bruce. And I just decided I'm going to take this a step further, and I'd started to do the gyration, the striptease type of thing. I planned this out, by the way. And I was just kind of dancing, wiggling my hips. Now, granted, I'm 57 at the time, 58, and this guy's up there, this age, gray hair, and he's dancing and gyrating, ripping his shirt off. That's exactly what I did. I just grabbed my shirt and I ripped it open. Buttons were flying, and everybody just loved it, right? And then a couple days later, my boss came up to me and said, Garrett, you can't do that anymore. Why not? He said, well, somebody complained. I said, one person complained? Yeah. And so I can't do that anymore? No. So I want you to think about this, and the kookiness and the way that we live in life is, I was told because one person didn't like it, whereas 149 others did, that I had to stop doing it. So what are we catering to? What are we catering to in life? The people that don't like what we do? Whereas the 90% who like what we do? Even the HR guy came up to me and says, we like it. So HR was going to let me do it. Anyway, I confronted my boss and said, you're gonna stop everybody's fun for one person. And so this comes back around full circle. I just kind of said, F it. I'm not going to pay attention to one person, a sourpuss in the crowd. That's they're not my problem. My problem is their joy and your joy, and how to help you release it and get that CNC creative juice flowing that you're being so drawn to. I tell you what. Come join my YouTube channel, IDC Woodcraft. There's a link down in the description of this podcast. Get inspired like all the other listeners do, the viewers. Here's somebody's just real world. Have fun in life, get creative, do your stuff. I will help you along the way. And before you know it, you're going, I love doing this. I want to quit my job. I want to do this full time. And then I'll teach you how to make money with it. Doing what you love. Isn't that worth life, happiness? Isn't that worth it? If you got CNC'er pulling in your spirit, answer the call. Answer the call, because you're such a beautiful soul. I can't wait to see you over on the YouTube channel IDC Woodcraft. I don't call it my channel. I call it your channel, because I don't do this for me. I've lived the happiness, joy in my life, and now I do it for you. And the greatest reward in my life is helping you find your happiness, joy, and creative spirit within. And email me. If you're scared, email me. idcwoodcraft.com. My contact information's there. Email me. We'll talk. We'll talk about it. We'll get you down the right road. What machine you should buy. We'll talk about what you want to do. What's in your soul? What do you visualize in your mind when you close your eyes and you see that machine and what you can create? I will help you get to that point where you're actually physically taking that creation off the machine and going, oh my God, look what I just made. It's amazing. And you and me will do the happy dance because you did it. I hope this podcast has inspired you to become what you feel inside and to let go of those restraints that says, I can't do it. I'm too afraid. Don't let money stop you. Money is not the road to happiness. It's the road to misery. I mean, isn't that what it is? Oh my God, I don't have the money. Therefore, I'm going to just stay unhappy because I can't afford it. Instead of figuring out the way to make it work, getting resourceful, or just taking the plunge and knowing within your heart that the money will come later anyway when you fulfill that joyful spiritual call to start creating. And then you find that magic space where you're creating in that other people want, that only you can do. You are a creator, and a CNC router or CNC laser, plasma cutter, CNC 3D machine, CNC anything, you're being drawn to it, and you're pulled to it, and you just keep seeing it. It's time. It's time. This is Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and I can't wait to hear and talk to you. But I can't wait to hear your dreams and see it come alive. Until then, I will be here waiting.